All right, so I have an update to the saga of Will Smith to share with you guys. I found this interesting. Exclusive, Will Smith is seen for the first time since Slapgate as he lands in India to meet spiritual leader and yogi Sadhguru, who teaches powerful methods for self-transformation. Smith was pictured touching down in a private airport in Mumbai, where he was greeted by adoring fans who he took snaps with. Dressed casually in a white t-shirt, dark gray shorts over white compression tights, and a pair of Nike sneakers, Smith looked relaxed and happy after landing in the South Asian country. Smith is reportedly in India to meet spiritual guru Sadhguru, who Smith and his family met back in 2020 in Los Angeles. This is the first time Smith has been spotted in public nearly a month after slapping comedian Chris Rock on live TV and in front of his co-stars after the comedian made a joke about his wife Jada Pinkett Smith's buzz cut. Okay, so let me show you some of the pictures here. Here he is greeting somebody. You can see he's smiling. Looks like he's doing well, but he's also is one of the best actors in the world, so he could just be acting, and he's obviously struggling with something, which is why he's going to see this guy. Here he is with a security guard taking a picture. Here he is waving at people across the street. You know, a little bit of, trying to revive his image type stuff here, I would imagine. I would imagine that's part of what's going on. There he is walking in. So let's read some of this. Jada has been open in the past about her struggles with alopecia. After the slap, Will returned to his seat and screamed, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth," twice. The slap divided Hollywood and the public, with some insisting he should be stripped of his Oscar and not be rewarded for violence, while others said he was standing up for his wife. Several film projects that Smith had been involved in were put on hold since the controversy, including a sequel to the actor's 2017 sci-fi action thriller Bright, directed by David Ayer, which was canceled by Netflix. Wow, so the new Bright was canceled. The old Bright was kind of big. I think I watched it. It was kind of big when it came out. So this new one, they're axing. That's kind of crazy. Smith's National Geographic nature series Pole to Pole, which follows a 53-year-old star to the North and South Poles and was set to begin filming in 3 weeks, has been paused until fall 2022. Wow, the news outlet reported. Additional projects Smith had lined up that have been getting smacked down include a movie for Sony that has been delayed and another Netflix project for The Fast and Loose. Netflix was in the midst of finding a new director for the film after David Leitch left the film ahead of the Academy Awards. The Sony film Bad Boys 4, which had started pre-production before the award ceremony, was also put on hold. Damn. They're taking away Bad Boys 4 from us. I don't know about all that, dog. I kind of want to see Bad Boys 4. I kind of want to see that. Amid mounting pressure, Will resigned from the Academy and issued an apology to Chris Rock, who has not publicly responded. But 2 weeks after awards night, the Academy issued the actor with a 10-year ban from all of its events, while issuing a statement blasting his unacceptable and harmful behavior. During our telecast, we did not adequately address the situation in the room, blah, blah, blah. So 10-year ban for him. Here he is with Sadhguru. By the way, this guy was just on Rogan. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched, whatever the short clip was that he put on YouTube. And Rogan actually pushed back a little bit on some of the theories of this guy. But it's classic Rogan. Like, he has on this person who I knew nothing about, but he has a gigantic following, and he's like, anyway, I find that fascinating that he talks to this guy. Another picture of him with the guru. Smith said he was a huge fan of Sadhguru and had followed him since reading his book Inner Engineering and wanted to introduce the guru to his family, so he did actually do that. Here's one of Will Smith's kids talking to the guru. There's a picture of the slap. Let's see what else we got. Do we have anything else here? Jada probably went on her podcast to talk about it. We want to express our deep gratitude to Mr. Rock for maintaining his composure under extraordinary circumstances. That's the apology. I accept the Academy's decision. The Yogi 65, whose real name is Jagi Vasudev, and who owns an ashram in India, started his own nonprofit spiritual foundation and has more than 3 million followers on Twitter. Jeez. Smith said he was a huge fan of Sadhguru and had followed him since reading his book Inner Engineering. So, look, I don't think there's any other more interesting stuff in here, but you know what this strikes me as? It strikes me it's desperate. It's desperate. This was posted. Did Jada post this? This is a season for healing, and I'm here for it. Jada has not directly addressed the slap, though she did share an Instagram and hinted at her. But God, she's so obnoxious. Okay. It just strikes me as desperate, man. Now, I don't know if you guys have had this experience in your own lives with people you know, but I certainly have in my life with people I know. Anytime people start looking in really different places for answers, it's because they feel totally and utterly lost. So, all those, like self-improvement books or books about depression and defeating depression or getting your life in order or whatever, or finding random gurus like this or random spiritual leaders or whatever. In my experience, whenever people are at the point where they're seeking that kind of advice, it's like, man, things are rough. They're going through it. They're having a hard one. And you do get the sense that when people find a guru or whatever who they latch onto and they want to become an evangelist for whatever this viewpoint is, whenever this guru teaches, it does have the smell of, as Jon Stewart said, somebody coming up to you like, let me tell you I didn't put a bullet in my brain today. Like, it has that desperation feel to it and vibe to it and aura to it. And keeping it real, that's the sense I get from Will doing this shit, is that, like, he's miserable, he's not happy, the one thing he really had going for him was his phenomenally successful career, and now that looks like that's been lit on fire to one extent or another, and so now he's trying to find a way to get his life back on track and get his mental life in order. And by the way, there's been a number of videos that have popped up since, the slap, which were like, looking at them with fresh eyes, they're really illuminating about their relationship. Like Jada Pinkett Smith recording Will, and asking her something that she's going to post on her Instagram or whatever, and he's like, look, you can't just, like, record me on some shit. You gotta ask me, don't just use me for clout. There was another video which resurfaced. It was from back in 2016. He was doing some roundtable with other celebrities, and he basically said that he had gotten his heart severely broken when he was younger, and then he decided, like, I'm going to become the best actor in the world so that I could never have to feel something like that again. I will always present, the best actor side of me. I'm butchering it, but it was some shit that was eye-opening where he got his heart broken, he was miserable, and then basically as sort of like payback, he was like, I'm going to become the best actor in the world type shit. And I remember I was watching that and I was like, jeez. So, I mean, it's the old adage, right? Like, it doesn't matter how much wealth you have, how much fame you have, you can't buy happiness. Like, there are other ways to get happiness. Now, he's trying to find those other ways to get happiness, but look, I just think anytime you're looking in places like this, most people who do stuff like this, they don't have any extra special knowledge that you don't have. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk about, like the clip I saw with this guy in Rogan, a lot of talk about like oneness and being centered and, rejecting modernity and consumerism and materialism, which on the one hand is good advice, but also on the other hand, it's like, I don't think this guy has all the answers, bro. You're going to be the same person when you leave as you were when you went to this dude. And maybe he gives you some little cliches or platitudes that you can hang on to when times are tough, but really, I don't think that's where you're ultimately going to find the answer. I mean, it's the old school stuff, man. Like that, the answers it's all old school simple stuff. Like, you need to have meaning, you need to have purpose, you need to dedicate yourself to something and give your all to it, and you need to try to be kind to other people and be gracious at the fact that we're just alive. And it sucks because sometimes this is the part that nobody really wants to talk about, and I understand why they don't want to talk about it because it's a dark reality, but a lot of your happiness level is genetically determined. About half of your happiness, from what I've read, is like genetically determined. So if you're naturally on a scale of 1 to 10, if your shit is at a 3, that's rough. Because then, maybe the best you can get is through all your environment, if you do everything right, and if you really dedicate yourself, so you can maybe be a 6, But there's some of it that's genetically determined, and I don't know, maybe Will's one of those people who's unfortunate where his natural happiness level is low. And so, he's looking for answers. But look, the other thing about this conversation that's a little annoying is that we're all talking about Will, but, nobody's even talking about Chris Rock. And that was the dude who was slapped. That was the dude who was actually the victim of what went down. I don't want to see Will Smith's Oscar taken away. The ban, I think, is a more debatable thing. The length is maybe 5 years or something like that would have been better. I don't know, but I don't want him to get all these movies taken away from him. But really, the victim of the situation was Chris Rock. And instead of talking about Chris Rock, we're talking about Will Smith. And but the whole point of talking about this is this is Desperation City, dog. That's what he's doing here. going to fly to visit some Indian spiritual guru who's going to tell him some platitude shit that he's going to try to take with him and become better. I just feel bad. Even though he was the aggressor, I feel bad for Chris Rock, but I also feel bad for Will Smith because I think he's lost. I think that whatever the relationship is with Jada Pinkett Smith, it doesn't strike me as very healthy. And he strikes me as a guy who means well, but he's ultimately lost and he's just not happy. And it sucks, man. It's like when Robin Williams committed suicide and we all looked at like, what the fuck? He seemed like he was happy. It's like a lot of it was just an act, man. A lot of it was just an act and he was struggling inside. So I hope he finds whatever answers he's looking for. I hope he gets his life back on track. I hope he gets, his internal mental life right. But I guess we'll have to see, and I don't have the highest hopes in the world. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.